Hey everyone, we're back in the Boreal Forest. Today is going to be an awesome day. I got some deliveries. I got a brand new Snowtrekker 9.5 by 11.5 Basecamp wall tent, hot tent, whatever you want to call it. And I got a new G-stove, which I'm thinking is going to be a good replacement for the Kni-co stoves that we've always used in our Snowtrekker tents. But I'm getting really fed up with the Kni-co, so I ordered a G-stove. After seeing some reviews on YouTube actually of these stoves, I ordered one up. Everything came in today, so I was like, heck, let's just head out to the forest. Let's go haul a bunch of gear in. Let's go set up this Snowtrekker tent, set up the G-stove, see how it performs, maybe make some coffee and just kind of chill out, run it through its paces and just kind of do a quick little review, nothing fancy, nothing in depth, and just kind of make sure that the whole system kind of works for us before I head out on a longer adventure with the tent and stove combination. So that's what today is. Really quick, not in-depth review, just kind of getting the tent pitched as quickly as possible, getting the stove going as quickly as possible. And at a later date, I am going to do a very in-depth G-stove review once I've had a chance to use it, put it through its paces. I think that I owe it that and a good review. You know, it takes time to use stuff and really understand how that thing works. And same with the tent. We've reviewed Snowtrekker tents in the past, but I am going to put this one through its paces and at a later date, probably in about a month from now, going to do a nice in-depth review on the Snowtrekker as well. And let's just get to it. All right, let's do this. So this is the G-stove right here. Look at that. She's freaking heavy though. But we'll run it through its paces. We'll see how it goes. I like these folding pot supports that it's got. I like the whole idea of this stove and the design, but it's pretty small. And especially for the weight, it's really small. So in this duffel bag I got my tent and the poles and a few other miscellaneous items. It's a good way to carry them. All right. So we actually got quite a big space here to work with. I'm trying to find the most level area, I guess, I can find, and start setting up the frame and then drape over the tent, and then what I'll do is I'll fill in with snow anywhere that I need to level out. It's probably the easiest way to do it, so that's what I'm gonna do. Fun times. Now, I'm fortunate that it's not very cold out right now, because if it was minus 30, I'd never be able to grab these poles. I'd have to do everything with my gloves on, and right now I'm happy that I don't. So you see how there's a bunch of snow that is getting all over the insides here? That's bad. You should never do that. It's just gonna freeze. And the poles are gonna freeze solid together. And when I go to take this thing apart, it's all gonna be frozen in. And it's gonna suck. Never do that. This is not always fun doing it by yourself, but that's all right. We'll get it done. Yeehaw. Alright, it's not so bad so far, but when I go to drape the tent over it, it's going to be a lot different. Gonna have to center this in the middle of the pad as well. Fun times. Knew that was gonna happen at some point. That's not bad there. A couple branches here in the way, but we can just get rid of those. Alright, well, now comes the fun part. Draping this guy over top. This is a bunch of messing around. There's still a bunch more screwing around to do, but at least we got the frame done. That's a good thing. So Snowtrekker Tents changed or modified their guy out system recently. I guess for this year they're using clips. They used to have these pieces of vinyl, and you'd have to push the pole through the vinyl and it would all be kind of attached to this pull out here. But in -30, I mean, it was just so difficult, and I'm glad they modified this. This is awesome. These clips, look at that. Done. I could do that in 10 seconds with all three if I tried. The other way would take me like 3-4 minutes, and messing around with cold hands, I mean, that's just crazy. So kudos to Snowtrekker. We're almost there. Alright, well, we're pretty much done the setup. There's a few things that I could probably make a little better, but right about now I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to get some of this stuff moved inside and organized, and then get that GStove set up. And we'll light that up and see how she performs. Oh. I don't think that my legs are supposed to move like this. This is what it's all about right here. Alright, so we got the GStove here, and this is the first time I'm ever setting it up. We'll see how she works. Totally different than the likes of the Snowtrekker. Pipes are different, the setup's different. It's all different. They use these 2.5 inch, it looks like, pipe. It's a heavier pipe, heavier walled than the pipes that come with the Kni-co stoves, but it's also a 2.5 inch versus a 5 inch, so the draw is going to be much less. However, the Kni-co stoves, you can get them rocking, and they're just like jet engines, and all that heat's going up the chimney anyways. So maybe 2.5 inches is just fine. And considering how many people have these stoves already, it seems to work pretty well for others. Making a racket. Lots of noise. Scaring all those caribou away. So she's empty. So there's this little pan here. This is going to go inside the stove, and it's going to hold up your main fire while all the ashes fall underneath. So that's just sitting like that. And then the pipes just sit in like so. Now, one of the things that I do want to mention is, if you look up here, that's a 5 inch opening. All the Snowtrekker tents, or at least these larger ones, have a 5 inch opening. So this pipe's 2.5 inches. So what I've done, it's not going to be exact today, but I am going to get it figured out. I just cut basically a hole through this piece of metal, and that's going to go over top in a perfect world, right, to cover that hole. However, that's on like a 45-degree angle, and this isn't bent. So I'm just testing out how much of a bend I have to put in this. I know I could figure it out a different way, but this is what I'm doing today. So when I get home after this little trip, I can just put this into a vise, bend it to the angle that I need, and moving forward it'll be just fine. So quick fix. I don't know what else to do. If anyone else has any tips on how to solve that problem, you guys let me know, please. Alright, moving on. So you see, that just goes in just like that. There we go. Now I'm going to go finish the rest of it outside. See how high we can go. All right, so there that is. The pipe's up there. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing right away is that this guy's moving, and in a big windstorm, that would be a problem. You don't ever want your pipes to come apart in a windstorm or a snowstorm. And because this is going straight up in the air, I can't use a bipod to secure it. So we can always find another way. You could probably just tie this off to a tree using some baling wire, something like that. I didn't bring any today, but that's what I would do if I was out on a longer trip. Let's see if my little disc works though. Alright, so we're just gonna disassemble this here for a second. I'm gonna remove this pipe here, put this guy on. So as you can see, I am gonna have to obviously bend that, and I'll just make a line here where I gotta bend it. It'll work. I'll make it work. The other thing here too, if I was really worried about pipe separation in the wind, I don't have to use all of this pipe. I could just kind of cap it off right there. Ideally though, you do want it higher than the peak, and so going up that high like so, she's a little wonky. That's what we got to work with today. Well, again, just a quick review here. We're gonna get this GStove going. I didn't even bother lining the floor of the tent with boughs, because again, this is just super quick review. I just wanted to get a burn going in this GStove and see how she does. So, got a bunch of birch bark here. Roll all that up. Look at that. That's all like super good stuff. I'm just gonna grab a couple pieces of poplar, which is crap, but we're gonna use it anyways. And then I'll light the birch bark. And then I'm just gonna have a couple pieces of black spruce twigs, stuff like this, just on top of that birch bark. Let's see how she goes. It's always a fun time when you're doing their first burn ever in a stove. I will also say that the Kni-co stoves sit up much higher, so this is kind of a pain in my butt. If I was going to be staying in this tent overnight or for a while, I would have built up a platform with snow, I'd say a foot higher than this, so that when I go to feed this stove, when I go to work with this stove, it's up much higher, because this is just a pain in the butt. That's about the only drawback that I can see so far with this stove. Get a match going here and see what happens. That's a great sound. So it's actually getting quite warm in here already. Had the stove going for, I don't know, 10 minutes. And it works, it's a stove. Lots of heat's already coming off, and you can see the pipe is starting to cure. So you always do that the first time you burn it. It'll oxidize or whatever that is. It changes color. And it gets rid of all the nasty chemicals and oils and stuff that are on it, but it's working. Ain't that just the sweetest thing? That's awesome. Sometimes it's hard to do things with mitts on. So I just grabbed some snow and just gonna boil up some water, make some coffee, enjoy this fire, and that'll be it. It's obviously gonna take quite a while working with this stove to kind of figure out the best way to use it in terms of using the damper system and to maximize the efficiency. That's not what today's little video is all about. I just wanted to come out here, get up a brand new Snowtrekker, brand new GStove, see how quickly I could get it all set up, and then just get it tested out. Tents pitched, GStove's working, job well done, we're good to go. Man, you can hear it, it's just rocking. I do like these shelves. These guys, you know, they swing in for transport. And the thing with the Kni-co is it did have that shelf system that you could buy separate, and it would slide in. However, it would warp, and the stove would warp. And so sometimes, you know, the stove might be here and the shelf might be here, and I found that it's just kind of a wonky system, and the shelves are really thin, so you got to be careful with adding too much weight to it because it'll start to sag. This thing overall is definitely a lot more solid. That's the first thing that I noticed, but you pay for it with the weight, so you kind of have to wrestle with, you know, whether those weight savings for the Kni-co is okay in lieu of the fact that it's a little more flimsy. This guy here is a rock. It's pretty solid, but man, it's like twice the weight of a Kni-co. Alright, well, my coffee's going to be done here in a minute. That's fantastic. I like seeing that. Just clean this up. That'll be my little stir stick. Don't want any little lichens in there. Everything else in the forest is good for you though, right? I imagine. Good deal. Alright, she's boiling up here, boys and girls. Let's check out this shelf. Look at that. So snazzy. Just using that lovely Starbucks instant via coffee. A lot of you guys sent me suggestions for other types of instant coffee, and I will get around to trying it. I just haven't yet, because there's probably a lot of things that are better than the Starbucks, but this is way better than like Folgers instant crystals. Coffee always tastes better in the bush, no matter if it's instant or regular French press or drip or good stuff. First impressions, stove is great. It's heavy, not bulky, it's just heavy, it's well built. I'm all good with that. I do like the shelves. The 2.5 inch pipe is something I'm gonna have to get used to. Gonna have to modify that disc that I was working with earlier to accommodate it for this tent. But this thing's drawing like a champion. So I don't see any issues with draw with the smaller pipe. I do like the damper that it is here. I like the big ring. It's spring fed as well. You can really grab this easily. It's a lot easier to grab than the Kni-co's damper, so that's a good thing. And yeah, overall, so far she's good, although it is a little short. So again, as I had mentioned, I'd get that up off the ground a little higher, but she's all good. Can't wait to take her out on an extended trip. Oh, it tastes so good. So I'm probably gonna head out of here in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I gotta let the stove burn itself out and then cool down. Gonna disassemble everything. Today was, again, just about getting a Snowtrekker tent out here, getting it set up, getting that new GStove going as quickly as possible, testing it out, seeing if I like it. So far, I do. This is by no means an in-depth review. I'm going to do an in-depth review both on the Snowtrekker tent as well as the GStove at a later date, probably next month. This was just, I got the gear yesterday, so it's like, hey, gotta get out in the Boreal, we gotta get this stuff on the ground, set it up, use it, see what it's all about, and then give you guys all like my honest opinion on what I think about it. So far, so good. The Snowtrekker tents themselves, heck, I mean, we've been using these for like 6 years in all of our winter programs. They've never let us down. Dwayne and Margot at Snowtrekker Tents, just awesome people. This, again, I think is a 9.5 by 11.5 Basecamp model. It's actually quite large for just 1 or 2 people, but I like the extra space. I like the extra headroom so I can hang a line, get all my clothes dry, and this thing never fails. It's a beast. The tent's really warm inside, so I'm gonna head back in there and enjoy this coffee a little bit longer. See you guys on the next video. Please subscribe, hit the little like button, leave us a comment, and see you on the next one. Cheers.